So once Hashem created a certain system, so in the system you have higher and you have lower, and you have this system created this and this level created that, and we're learning this to know Hashem, because Hashem created this system into place, and the system, the blueprint for the system is the Torah, and it's the same Torah and the revealed Torah that we're learning in Chumash and in Gemara, and then it's the same Torah that dictates how we should live our life in this world according to Shulchan Aruch and the halachas of this world. And through knowing the inner aspects and esoteric aspects of the Torah, this is a first of all an excellent gate to an inner connection with our practice of Torah and our learning of Torah in a revealed sense. But also it is an amazing merit and an amazing schus that Hashem gave us to come to know Him as He's revealed in this world better and better. And it's also a process that rectifies us and makes us also more and more refined as we go through this process. Just a quick introduction so we don't get caught up in, well, did me created Ele, Bina created Zan, what are you talking about? Hashem created the world. So in Achinamin, this is an introduction probably is worth repeating a few times. והנה נודע שכל עצמותה של לאה נתקנה מאחוריים באמא. לכן גם לאה נקראת מי, הגם שעיקר כינוי מי הוא באמא. Here we're going into a little more specific detail. Here I said that before I said that Leah corresponds to Ima. It's a good way to remember just to parallel the sphere of Bina, parts of Leah and parts of Ima, and they correspond to each other. But really Leah is not Ima exactly one-to-one. There's a relationship between them. In fact, within Ima you have a lot of different levels. So he says that Leah came into being from the outer aspects of Ima. Parts of Ima has the inner aspects of Ima, Pnimius Ima. Pnimius Ima, by the way, is actually where Keter is revealed. And from the outer aspects of Ima, or Nehi, Netzachod Yisayt of Ima, was the source of parts of Leah, which means that our Bina means understanding. The world of speech has its source from the world of thought. What we know the world of thought has its source in the outer aspects of understanding, of our capacity to understand. Again, this is in Nefesh Adam, in man's soul. This is only a parallel to how it is above. By the way, you see there's already a bunch of steps that we're taking. And this is how you learn Zohar, by the way. You're taking a verse from the Zohar, from the Rashbi, and you understand how it is in man's soul, Nefesh Adam, how it is by us. And then you're taking to say, okay, that's how it is by us. Now I understand how it is by Hashem, how Hashem created me, since I was created in God's image. Now let me try to understand somehow how it is in the spiritual realms, and then how it is in the way that God created the world and how God interacts with the world. And that's how I get to know God. It's an amazing service of Hashem to do this. So we said that parts of Leah comes from Achorayim of Ima. What does it mean that Leah comes from Achorayim of Ima? It means that the parts of Leah, the world of thought by us, comes from the outer aspects, the Nehi, of understanding, which means in understanding you have the inner understanding, which is like the intuitive understanding, which sometimes is really almost connected to your wisdom, to the inner aspect of your intellect. And then you have the outer aspect of your understanding. I understand something, I'm ready to give it over to someone else. It's matured already. It's concrete. That what gives letter to thought. Thought is a concrete already, is already a result of understanding. That's why it's the Zohar is actually the Matok Midvash is coming to explain, saying that Leah shouldn't really be called me, because me corresponds to parts of Ima, or to Bina. So why are we calling Leah? Leah is slightly lower level than Ima. So he's saying, since the source of Ima, of Leah, is in the other aspects of Ima, so we're also referring to him as me. Mashakatu Zot, Hainu Dalgatata Letata Almatata, Hi Madrigat Tachtona Lemata, Shehi Olam Tachton. The other word, now we spend all this time talking about me. Now let's talk about the word Zot, and this should be, hopefully, maybe we'll call that a night after that. Is the lower level, which is lower in the lower world. What's the lowest level, which is in the lower world? Talking about Malchut, which is the source of this physical world. This is the lower world. This is Rachel, which is lower than Leah. Rachel, think of it as the world of speech. This is the revealed world. As we say, speech is where you're already revealing to someone else, whereas thought is something that is revealed to you sometimes, but it's still not ready to be revealed to someone else. שאפשר להשיג בה ולומר זאתי, it's comprehensible, and you can be able to point to say זאת, this. ותרווה הוא תרין עלמין, and those two are two worlds. שתיהם רחל ולאה הם בית עולמות כנען. These two worlds, Rachel and Leah, two worlds like we say, בחיבור אחד, with one knot, with one connection. שלפעמים מתחברות יחד ונעשות פרצוף אחד. Sometimes they're connected together, they become one פרצוף, one structure. לכן אמר הנשקפה בלשון יחיד. That's why it says that who is seen in a singular term. The pasuk is speaking mizot, these two words, even though the simple meaning of the pasuk mizot means who is this? But here on the deeper meaning of the text, when we broke it up, it says that mi and zot corresponds to two different worlds. It's speaking about it singularly because sometimes they taka become one. דהיינו בעת הנסירה כשנהי דאמא מתלבשים בתוכן שאז הן נקשרות יחד. This is during the nesira. Nesira is a process when you have, nesira means to sew off, which means sometimes you have partzufim that relate to each other by being back to back, which means they're not really communicating with each other, and sometimes they switch and become face to face. And before they're going from back to face, there's a process called nesira, which means they're kind of like the relationship, the connection, the back-to-back connection between them is severed rather, and then it's bound together face to face. So during this process, when Nehi of Ima go in, when Nehi of Ima, like we said before, is within the power of understanding. It's the power of concreting your thought into your understanding into a thought. And then connecting that with your speech. By the way, we're doing this all the time. These yichudim, these mystical yichudim that we're speaking about happen all the time when we're between a thought and a speech and an action, etc. This is the amazing thing of us being created in God's image. The kesher echad yechid becomes one knot. לפי שרק שתיהם ביחד יספיקו ויחילו להלביש בתוכן et erech hanei de'ima, because only both of them together, only when Leah and Rachel are together, they can garb the full length of Nehi of Ima, which again, as I'm explaining it, B'nefesh Adam by us, meaning when thought and speech are bound together, only then you can contain, which means really garb, the complete and concrete idea that is a result of understanding. In the spiritual realms, obviously this means something completely different, similar but very, very different. But as hard as it is to explain in Nefesh Adam, it's obviously much, much more abstract even in the spiritual realms. So we try to understand Nefesh Adam, and then from there we'll come to each one on their own, try to contemplate what it means above, developing a sort of relationship with that. So much for now. Hopefully we'll pick up a little bit more tomorrow. I think it's actually a very excellent introduction to the Zohar. Baruch Hashem, La'olam, Amen, V'Amen.